All right, guys, I got some good weather today. I'm trying to catch up on a little bit of my backlog, so we'll be unloading this load of logs that we picked up the other day and getting them on the mill. I got a little bit of milling I got to do for a project I'm working on. I got to have some cedar skirting to go with this island top that I'm building. That way they can skirt the underside of it, make it match, because it's currently made out of some plywood or something. So stick around and we'll see how it goes. Well, we got the logs unloaded, and I gotta finish cutting up this little cedar here, and I'm gonna make some real thin boards out of this guy to use with my laser engraver, because the log wasn't really the best log to use, and rather than waste it, I cut it into smaller pieces to use for my laser engraver. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put a fresh blade on this guy, because I don't remember how well it was cutting when I last used it. So since I sharpened my own, it really doesn't matter to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap this blade out, put a nice sharp one on there right quick. And for those of you that maybe don't have a mill yet or looking at getting an LX25, when you're changing the blade, you want to pull this this little support here. You want to go ahead and pull that thing all the way back, because if you don't, it gets in the way of the blade when you're trying to pull it out of there. Just a little tip in case you're thinking about getting an LX25 or something similar. That will get in your way when you pull this blade out over here if you don't do that. So go hang this guy up with the dulls and get me a sharp one. Like I said, I do sharpen my own blades. I've got the BMS 25 sharpener that I use, and I like it. I'm happy with it so far. It's done me a good job. And I also use the Woodland Mills cedar. I just preferred the way the Woodland Mills was built, and the fact that it was so much cheaper, I decided to go with it. So, but I run a 15 thousandth set on my teeth, and that seems to be a good fit for my mill. It seems to work really well. And another thing that you may notice is when I put my blade back on, I use a torque wrench to do that. So makes it a little easier. Got something going on over here with my drive belt. For some reason it's wanting to try to engage. Probably because I haven't been milling lately and it's been sitting up too long. There we go. Yeah, I had a little rust on it apparently. Try to turn it as I tension it. I try to rotate it and let the blade track to where it wants to track. I want to get my sharpen or my tension as consistent as possible. So that's my reasoning behind that. And there we go. Back in service. Now we'll push this back out. We'll guide it. This thing is definitely not the best design in my opinion. I know it's a cheap mill and you get what you pay for as far as the Wood-Misers go, but I definitely think they could improve upon that. So, all right, well I got the new the sharpened blade on there, and we are ready to go forward. Another thing that I do that some of you may not is I like to change the blade on this end of the mill so that I can kind of get in here to it without having to lean across the bed rail. So I always push it to this end if I don't got a log in the way that's going to cause a problem. So we'll get this thing down there and get started. All right, I got me another log up here. This one here I'm going to use to cut the boards that are going to go around this island for the guy that I'm cutting for. These are just basically going to be real thin boards to cover up some already existing plywood or paneling type stuff on this island that we're building. I'm gonna have to move my log stocks together on this little guy. But I am just thankful that I have found a use for it, because I hate to see wood go to waste. And this thing really isn't big enough to do much with, other than maybe some small projects or what I'm using it for. So it's got a little bit of a downhill slope, so I'm gonna try to position it to where it's mostly flat. Since it's so small, I really don't have to have any tools to do that. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna start off right here. I'm gonna skin the top off, and then we're gonna start flipping it. All right, guys, I got that done. Got it squared up. These little thin pieces like this, like I said, I use that for my laser, and I had a little extra live edge on there that I didn't want, so I cut that to a thin piece to throw in the laser pile. But these pieces like this, I don't throw those away. I got a lot of folks that like to come dig through my scrap, and they use those for projects, so I'm gonna throw this in the scrap pile over here. But now that I've got me a Kent, I'm going to start knocking off these little cedar boards that this guy's wanting. But before I do that, I'm going to check, make sure everything's cutting good and flat. It appears to be. I don't see any problems. Everything sounds good. I had to start running a little bit of water because my blade was getting a little warm on me. But other than that, looks like we are good, guys. The little LX cutting flat today, so I'm gonna go ahead and knock these boards off. I think I'm gonna do these in maybe little 1/2-inch boards, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, got her cut up, and got quite a few little boards out of this. Nothing to sneeze at, and it's actually some really good cedar. I don't know how well you can see that, but some good looking little cedar panels here. And I can use this, like I said, for this guy to finish out his island, or I could run this through the planer a time or two and use it for my laser. So either way, I'll be able to use these. And while we're at it, a little tip for you guys that maybe don't have your mill yet, you're thinking about putting one out. I would strongly recommend, especially if you're going to have it kind of outdoor so that you can absorb the breeze and stuff like I do here in Alabama, I would strongly recommend that you go out and take into consideration the prevailing winds where you live, which direction the wind usually comes from, and put your dust chute downwind from you. Because with this cedar especially, this stuff's so fine that, as you can see, it's blowing back up into my mill shed pretty heavy. But luckily I'm standing over here. But if the mill was turned around the other way, all that cedar dust would be blowing on me, and I would be pink right now. So that's something you might want to consider when setting a mill up stationary there. Just thought I'd throw that in there. And with my trusty LX, the last board off the mill is always a 1-inch board because that's as low as it'll let you go. So we'll stick this over here in my assorted board collection. Well, all right, guys, that pretty much is it. I'm gonna go in the shop and do some work today. I don't know that I'm gonna be doing any more milling. I got a couple of jobs backed up on some home decor projects I'm working on, but just wanted to let you know I haven't got rid of the mill. I still do it, but only as needed to get the wood that I need to be able to do the project. All right, guys, I hope you found the video today entertaining or amusing or something. And maybe you'll stick around, watch some other videos on the channel and hit that subscribe button. The whole objective today, I wanted to kind of show you that even though a lot of folks, you know, they've got these fancier mills than I've got, and they've got a lot better equipment than I've got, but for the purpose that I've got my mill, I like it. It's work, but it's exercise, and it's a lot of fun. And just wanted to show that even those little small logs that most people would just send to the landfill, I mean, you can get some pretty good lumber out of those things, especially for small projects. Now, you're not gonna be framing houses with them, but you know, doing what I do with the hobby stuff and making little small things, you know, a small little log like that can go a long way. So, but I've got the wood put away. I've got to go stack it and sticker it and everything in the kiln just to let it sit for a few days. It's pretty dry, but I'm gonna go ahead and let it run for a few days. It's done got hot here, so I'm not having to run the heating element. I just got the dehumidifier going in the kiln, and it does a really good job on these hot days. It stays over 100 degrees in there because of the sun. So I'm just gonna let that stuff sit in there for a few days before I use it and rock on. But like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or anything that you'd like to see more of, just let me know. Drop me a note in the comments, and I'll see what I can come up with. So have a good day.